A man's close encounter with the otherworldly leads to some of the most compelling images of an extraterrestrial being ever to be captured on film. The alien cosmonaut. In the city of Kawano, Japan, an unusual visitor would soon be arriving. On the night of March 24, 1975, Gichi Shioda was at a landfill in Kawano when he stumbled across an astonishing sight. Sometime during the night, he spied what he described as a luminous, suit-clad figure that seemed to be suspended in midair. The being was hovering almost 7 feet off the ground and was around 100 yards away from him. As Shioda stared at the luminous figure, he began to experience a crushing headache, something unlike he's ever experienced. And then in a blink of an eye, the being vanished. He, however, was not deterred by a headache and was determined to see the strange object again. Astounded by the sight of this possible alien entity, Shioda became obsessed with the notion of capturing this visitor on film in order to prove that this bizarre encounter was real and not a product of an overactive imagination. So armed with no less than 3 cameras, it was with grim determination that Shioda returned to the scene of his encounter night after night. Hidden amongst the bushes, his camera at the ready, eagerly awaiting the being's return. On the night of March 31st, after a week of lurking in the landfill with dogged patience, Shioda was suddenly stricken with another brutal headache. When he looked up, he saw a bluish-white electrical disturbance floating roughly 300 feet in front of him. Shioda had been staring, enthralled at this anomalous cloud-like formation for several minutes, when he saw an almost 6-foot-tall humanoid apparition appear in the midst of this disturbance. This unusual being leisurely descended until it was hovering just a foot off the ground. It was then that it began to glide towards Shioda. A horrified Shioda refused to succumb to panic and quickly grabbed his camera and snapped photos as quickly as he could. The unknown entity had traversed more than half the distance between it and Shioda when it suddenly veered to the right. The glowing thing then traveled in that direction at an extraordinary rate for about 30 feet before it disappeared. I saw what looked like a spaceman, who appeared to break into independent images enveloped in strangely colored electrical discharges, as you can see from the images Shioda was able to capture. While it must have felt like an eternity, Shioda quickly determined that the entire event had lasted no more than a minute. This would be the last time Shioda would encounter the alien cosmonaut. Just a month before Shioda's disturbing encounter in Kofu City, Japan, 2 young students also claimed to have had a face-to-face encounter with an unknown, suit-clad alien entity. While these boys did not have a camera at hand, they did manage to draw what has come to be known as the fanged humanoids of Kofu. Whether or not there is any direct connection between these 2 strange cases, save that of time and proximity, remains to be seen. The alien cosmonaut also has remarkable similarities to the Canula humanoid, which was an encounter that occurred in Finland in 1971. They described the being as a 3-foot-tall entity, his entire body covered in a green one-piece suit. On the front of the head was a faceplate that was described as being akin to that of a scuba diver. Many have also concluded that the images taken by Shioda are reminiscent of the now famous Cumberland Spaceman, which occurred on May 23, 1964, of an alien being that appeared in the background of an accidental phonograph taken by Jim Templeton, which makes you wonder if the Cumberland Spaceman and the alien cosmonaut come from the same place. It is still unknown what Shioda encountered and was able to capture on film. Was it an alien entity? A time traveler? An interdimensional being? We truly may never know. But keep your camera ready, as you never know what may be lurking around the corner.